What was the hottest thing someone has ever said to you? I'll go first. Once my girlfriend and I were having sex, and I wanted to make sure I got her off. So I said something along the lines of, "What do you fantasize about?" She leaned up, put her lips right next to my ear and whispered, You're my fantasy. You're the kind of woman a guy robs banks for." In my ear and with a lot of teasing leading up to it. Love you. I was putty in her arms at that point. Ravioli ravioli give me the cummiali. Damn Italian girls. After an above-average climax you're not allowed to ever do that to anyone else. A girl told me she wanted me to touch the back of her throat. Her neck? Oh. Respectfully, I'd let you rearrange my organs. First thing my current girlfriend ever said to me, and you bet I took her up on that offer. When you took your shirt off I shivered because you have a hot body, my ex. That was when I was 2 years into my training. I kinda knew my traps and chests were starting to take shape, but my belly was still big, so I really appreciated that. I went to go pick up my date one day, walking into her house. We were at the point we were comfortable to go in and out of each other's places. I hear she is in the room, laying on her bed playing with herself and squirming. She looks at me second I am in the doorway, stares at me and says, "Why are your clothes still on? Never got undressed so fast before." The night I hooked up with my partner, we were at a conference cocktail party at the hotel most people were staying in. We'd been flirting on and off the whole conference and the sexual tension was high. I was almost shaking with desire standing next to her. I more than wanted her, I needed her, and I was pretty sure she felt the same. Late in the evening I'm stuck in a boring conversation and she walks up to me and says I'm going to call it a night, I'm on an early flight. It was really nice meeting you. My heart sinks as she gives me a goodbye hug. But then she whispers in my ear, close enough for me to feel her breath, "I'll be in the lobby." It's the hottest thing anyone has ever said to me. It sent a jolt of electricity from my ear to my balls and I was done. And yes, she was waiting in the lobby. My friend cancelled the dinner party. Apparently she has something big due at work. Want to get pizza instead. So hot. After a very nice round of lovemaking, she just turned to me and said, "You're a good man." I know it's not very sexual, but it made me feel better than I ever have since. I used to date this girl, and whenever maiming out got me excited I'd make a move and she'd reply "Easy tiger," but it became her thing. Every time we were about to take it to the bedroom she would stop and say "Easy tiger" as if code for "Actually don't stop, LOL." She conditioned me to be turned on by just 2 words. A woman here. He was so busy with studying for medical exams we hadn't done it in 2 weeks, which was rare because we're both very sexually active. We got the results of his test that he was in the top 10 and we celebrated that day, and I was so turned on by his test results how smart he is. We were making out on the couch with my on his lap. I licked up his neck, cheek, and ear. Whispered to his ear, "As a reward you have every inch of me. You can shoot in my mouth, front, and back. Fill me up." He was like an animal. Until now he tells me that was the most unexpected and hottest thing that ever came out of my mouth. I was making out with my current partner and he grabbed my wrists to pin me down. He knows I love it, and I playfully tried to resist. He looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Don't make me tie you up." That was hot. Also, once I was asleep while he was playing video games, and when he was done playing, he joined me in bed and started to finger me. I had already told him that it was something I wanted to try. So I wake up, I was sleeping on my side and he was behind me. I tried to turn myself to return the favor, and he whispered in my ear, "Go back to sleep," while still touching me. I can't even express how that made me feel. My wife told me once, I married my kink. Still gets me going just to think of it. Woman chiming in here, sorry, one just had to, and they were both said by my current boyfriend and the best I've ever had in bed. One time I had a friend over to our place, and our room was like a loft, so no actual doors, but it was still a floor above our living room. My friend had passed out drunk on the couch the night before, and around 5 a.m. he woke me up by touching me and then proceeded to go down on me. I started whimpering / trying not to moan, and he stopped, looked up at me, and said "S the F up" in the most agonizingly dominant way, and I just effing melted. Another favorite from him is, "Are you gonna be my good girl and come for me?" Instantly melting in his mouth/hands/whatever. When I was a virgin teenager, I took this girl ice skating. She just turned to me and said, "What makes you horny?" I'm a friggin' hormone-pumped teenager. Just that question made me horny. We dated for 5 years and popped each other's cherries along the way. Our parents were concerned. Hearing, "I love you" from someone I'm in love with. Went on a date with a girl who was gorgeous and she held my hand and started rubbing my palm. You know what it means when a girl does this? Me? No. What? She leans over and whispers in my ear. It means she wants to F you. P.S. We went on 2 dates and never F'd. It's 100 degrees Fahrenheit today with 20% humidity. I met up a woman I hadn't seen in years. I had new car, new clothes, etc. I said something about being at my boogiest. She said, "I think I'm at my white trashiest." It was so pure and honest, such a turn on. Semi-joking about it being the hottest. But, girlfriend has a surprise date planned and she was worried it would be lame and she told me I ordered some pizza. I have Halo Reach loaded on the Xbox and I got a variety pack of condos to try out later for us. Pizza Halo sex date sounds like a dream come true to me. I was hanging out with this chick I had known for a bit one night at a party. At the time we were just friends. We both had been drinking a little and decided to stay there that night. We ended up in the same bed and kept trying to fool around with me, but I didn't feel right about it because I knew she was drunk and I didn't want to take advantage, so I told her that. But she kept saying, "No, I'm not. It's okay," but I still didn't go through because I didn't believe her. And in the morning when we woke up, she rolled over and climbed on top of me and said, "I told you it was me talking, not the alcohol," and you can pretty much guess where the story went from there. Damn, that is so effing hot. What's great about your anecdote is that there was no dirty or salty language, just full-on honesty and openness. When my wife and I were in the dating phase and had moved into physical intimacy, we went to eat with a bunch of friends over at one of their homes. She got up to go to the restroom. She came back, sat down next to me, leaned over and whispered in my ear, "Can you hold on to these for me?" Under the table, she placed her panties in my hand. I have to admit, it was a tricky trickster thing to do. Those panties were like a small fire in my pocket for the rest of the evening. That's super hot, oh my god. Just waiting for my girlfriend to do this now. Did also tell her, "Welcome to my world," and then she replied, "Our world now?" I wish I were a monkey, so I could live on that log. This is a respectable thought. An old girlfriend said, "I tell all my friends how hard you make me come." The first time my current girl and I slept together, I had actually made her wait a week because she wasn't sober enough to consent the night we met. So we are fooling around and she says, "I want you and me now." She had intentionally stayed sober, so I knew we were ready and I slid all the way in on the first thrust. She was more than ready after a week of anticipation, and she gets big-eyed and says, "Oh wow, you are a perfect. You have the perfect D for me, fit." It was all I could do to not bust right then and there. I had to stop and just hold her for a few minutes. Opens notebook and jots that down. Me and an ex were starting to talk again, when one night one thing led to another and we ended up having a booty call with each other. We start going, and she starts crying and just tells me, "I've missed your D so much." We were being careful not to use our pet names for each other, and not fall back into the patterns we had. I had been wanting to tell her how much I missed her and loved her, and how I still thought about her. She had similar thoughts, so didn't want to do the whole "I miss you and love you" thing. It was super hot, but we stopped to just hold each other and be with each other for a couple moments, then went on to have fantastic sex. Your cum is leaking from me, while at a grocery store 1 hour after a cream pie. I was chatting with this girl and she said, "I'll make you cum so hard it will hit the ceiling," except that will never happen because it will end up in one of my holes. I don't waste that Insta boner from AF-ing text. I can honestly say that nothing has ever come close to this. Someone I was meeting regularly as FWB. She was giving me a blowjob and said, "I want you inside me." I lay on my back and she climbed on top, but in a way so I could see everything as she rode me and played with herself. All I could think to myself is, "Please don't come. Not yet." She groaned and said your CK feels so effing good it's gonna make me come. Then she really started pounding on me and leaned back. As my CK came out she let out this huge moan and squirted all over me. In my head I'm thinking WTF was that LOL. Then started giving me a blowjob again. Looked up at me and said now come all over me. Man did I bolt and both of us were knackered afterwards LOL. After I made her come with my mouth she said that is what I think about when I masturbate. My first time over at this girl's house and we were sitting on her couch watching a movie and we were cuddled up with some light touching and she grabbed my hand and put it in her panties and said look what you do to me. She was absolutely soaked. My first time getting oral I asked if I should give a warning and she said yeah I want to get my mouth over it so I don't waste a drop. I had back orgasms and nut down her throat twice. Another girl who was about 5 feet 2 inches 100 pounds was riding me and it looked like she was struggling a bit when I would thrust my hips up at the same time she was going down. She just said why is it so deep? It made me feel good because I always felt average. A girl I was dating at the time was in the middle of giving me one of the very best BJs I've ever received. All at once she paused, made eye contact with me and said you can come wherever you want and proceed. My goodness. You're the only one for me. We're made for each other. I want you. Before I came inside of her for the first time like ever, she said remember what we talked about, and I'm all confused. She stopped me. She stopped the sex and looked at me and said I wanna let you know that if you want to be a dad, tonight is our night to take this step. Honestly, I won't ever be a mom unless it's with you as my partner. And I want you to know that you can choose to not do this. But I know we talked about it and I'm just saying. Now is the time. I love you. Of course there will be more times. But I kinda want you and us and it and forever. She kinda mumbled that part LOL but I understood / none of this is verbatim. And her little face was so nervous. She was scared to begin this next step but so brave to be fully intentional with it. To take this on with me and do something nobody forced her to do was so hot. And plus, with me, I'm the last guy I ever expected this effing woman to want. Quiet, shy girl I dated for a few months was round my place. We'd done a few dates, classic to watch a movie move. She turned the movie off after a few minutes, said what a movie. Yeah right, and got in my lap and we started making out. It was her time of the month she said as I started to try and get her pants off. Oh, well that sucks, for you? She groaned and I picked her up and put her on my bed. Heavy makeouts, grinding, teasing her nipples, basically doing everything I could except touch or go down on her. Thad her pressed against the wall and was spanking her a bit, teasing her, pulling her hair and telling her what was going to do to her next time I saw her. She moaned, stuck her ass out into my crotch and half said half whispered I'd let you. Quite possibly the hottest thing, made hotter in the moment by the fact that all I wanted was to be inside her and couldn't. I was on a hike with a woman I had been talking to for a few days. We had an instant connection with each other and really hit off. We met for the hike and the physical attraction made the connection even stronger. About a half mile into the hike, and the path went down a hill and through this tunnel under a railroad track. It was darker and dirty with graffiti on the concrete walls. I knew she was into rough stuff too, so when urge hit me, I stopped. I grabbed a handful of hair and her throat with the other hand and pushed her against the wall. I leaned and kissed her hard and she moaned in my mouth. When I pulled away a bit, she said, "You can do anything you want to me." It was so hot in the moment. I want you to do what you want to me and not ask permission. My wife. Not sure if hottest but recent. She put her hand in my pants saying hello Mr. Big. I've been called Mr. Big before and I'm not even that big but it sure made me big right there. This was a few realtionships back. Me and the ex were going at it on her couch pretty enthusiastically. She kept saying oh God, oh God, oh God. So I decide to say that's right, you pray to God. I dunno, just something that came to mind in the heat of the moment. Her response, oh you're my God now. I did not expect that. But I have to admit it was hot, and can now say I fed a girl so good. She declared me her new God. Not said but done. I'm a boob guy and my ex knew I loved hers. Forever touching / grabbing, looking down her shirt. I had pulled a muscle in my neck / shoulder and she was giving me a massage to help with the pain. She then pulls up her shirt and drags her boobs across my back. That was amazing. That thing is like a weapon. Girlfriend and I were going out for the evening. She was all dressed up in a great skirt and top when she got to my place. She looked so hot we ended up having sex right then and there. Later, at the party we were attending, she leans over and whispered, "Right now you are running down my leg. OMG, so hot." This was also the woman that when we were around other people, she would make sure I was facing away from everyone and then look down and lightly pat my package through my pants. Always felt wanted around her. There was a guy I once really liked and he said he wanted to have kids, and really wanted to be a dad. Hottest thing despite how random it is. Riding my scooter down the highway of life, that's easy. The first time, completely unexpected, my GF looked me straight in the eyes and said those immortal words, "Wanna F?" OMG, I almost creamed my shorts right then and there. We worked together. One day as I was leaving and she was just starting her shift, she said, "Hey, can I tell you something?" I said, "Of course." Her reply, "I'm really into you." I totally felt like she was way out of my league, so was shocked and stoked.